clipping. Now, as you can plainly see right here, this is the camera for rendering. This is not the camera for the viewport. This is something completely different. So if I hit 0 on the numpad, that's the camera that we're going to render from, or that you will render from. What we're seeing here is the viewport camera. If I zoom in with the middle mouse wheel and just roll in and roll out, zoom in, zoom, and you see how it clips inside the model. I roll out, and that's fine. So I'm going to hit the End panel and go to View, and you see here it says Clip Start and Clip End. Also the focal length. So I'm going to get rid of these two. Just go up here to Viewport Gizmos and just disable them. In edit mode, at 0.01, it's like this. Clipping works like the closer you get to your model, the longer it takes to clip, depending on the number you set. So at 0.01, which is default, well, you see how close we are able to get before it starts clipping. Now let's say I set this at, let's say 0.1. Then I roll the middle mouse wheel in. You see it's the same, but it went and clipped at a different distance. If I set this to 0.6, enter, and just roll out and just, shake up the viewport a little bit, then roll in, it begins to clip faster. So if I set this at 0.001, enter, and roll the middle mouse wheel in, it still clips pretty quick. However, you may want to set the focal length to something a lot larger. Remember, the longer the focal length, the longer it's going to take to clip at the same time. So these two are probably the most important settings when it comes to clipping. So I like to set this to you see how it popped in? Now when I zoom in, it's pretty quick. That's because its clip start is so low. Let's turn this to 0.01 and just mess around with the viewport. Now let's roll in. You see, it's taking a little bit longer to get there. And this shape really doesn't do any justice. It's basic cube. So I'm going to go and delete that. Shift A. Add Suzanne. Let's roll in. You see how long that's taken? That took a pretty long time before it started clipping. And you see how close you can get. I started over to record this video, so orbit around selection is not enabled right now. Not a big deal. That's why this viewport is really rocky, but that's fine. So what you have to do is just have a go at these settings here. So now we will play with the clip end. So I'm going to set this in from 1000 millimeters to 3. Everything disappears because wherever the 3D camera is, it's measuring the end at 3 meters which is in front of the model. So if I just move this slowly, there it is at 13, or let's go a little bit more or down a little bit, and let's just put it at 12.4 meters. And this is the end of the clip. You see how the foreground is in view, but the background is not. If I set this to 1,000 meters, and we see the foreground again. So the end of the clipping is way back there, 1,000 meters away. If I set this to 5,000 meters, enter, and it is making an effect, but we just can't see it because it's so far away. And you can't see it too well because of Blender's default viewport color. Set this back to 1,000. And let's set the clip start to, let's go 0.09, enter. Then zoom in. You see that's taking a long time to clip. There we go. There you go, right there. So basically you would need to make your adjustments. Let's say you set this to 70 millimeters on the focal length. It's pretty much going to be the same thing. You can get in pretty close. Yes, clipping may be another one of Blender beginner headbangers. Alright, so let's say something happens and your model gets out of whack. You can hit the dot on the numpad. And that will frame everything. Or you can go to, I think it's view. Now I don't use this. Yes, the same one. Frame selected. Just like so. So you just have to have a go at this. You just have to get the feel of it. I hope I shed some light on it for you a little bit. You know something, let's have some fun. Let's go 10 millimeters for the focal length. And if you like this in perspective view, then okay. So I zoom in and you see that's just way out of whack. See, the clip start is really harsh and abrupt. Let's go 0.09, enter. You see that cleared it up a little bit. Well, it cleared it up a lot. So this is 1.06, and you see how that is. You see the foreground is washed out and the background is washed out. So let's increase the focal length a little bit. Let's just go back to 50. Now we zoom in. You see how it's clipping real fast and abrupt. As I said, I like either 100 or 110. And I like the clip start to be either 0.01 or 0.001. This is something you just have to check out for yourself.